We are now heading into a part of the year where there is finally something coming out in the world of entertainment on both the big and the small screen. And well, it's interesting, right? Because this is an opportunity for Hollywood to try to dig itself out of the ditch that it's very obviously dug for itself, but they just cannot get out of their own way. The biggest stories surrounding two of the biggest releases that come out here in the next couple of weeks is just all about the interview circuit and all about the meta, really. It's not really even about the work that they're promoting. It's just in regards to Wicked for Good here, okay? Once again, it's the interview circuit with the two main stars, Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, and now even more so over the top, just them not being healthy. Like, the Critical Drinker posted this collage, and it's like before and after Wicked. It's like, what the hell has happened? And now it's even spreading to old-ass Michelle Yeoh. Like, what the hell is going on here, right? Like, the media will go ahead and jump down Sydney Sweeney's throat for having the audacity to breathe, but given the fact that all of the actresses attached to this project, the only thing that jumps down their throat are their two fingers, why aren't they ringing the alarm bells on this? It's probably because they know if they go a little bit too hard on them, number one, they're going to break in half, but number two, they're so mentally unstable, you don't even really know how they're going to respond to this stuff because, yeah, if you cast your mind back to last year, you'll remember all of the weird press interviews and how none of them could stop from crying all the time, touching and grabbing on each other like two lovebirds. It was all really weird, but it ultimately didn't affect the box office. Like, didn't Wicked go on to make something like $800 million? And I have no idea what the projections look like. It comes out later today, and I think some people have seen early reviews, and some of the early reviews, it's like, well, okay. It's tough to say, really, because every once in a while you get something that is reviewed very poorly by the critics that would normally mean something in regards to the type of film being released, and it just ends up exceeding expectation because there is that dedicated fan base, and that is very much the case for the Wicked stage show as well as the movie. So I don't know if it overperforms, underperforms, performs up to snuff with the original, or if it just completely dive bombs, if the cinema score is anything to go off of. Like, I don't know. I'm not talking about the validity or quality of the show. I'm just talking about its weird two lead actresses and who, between these two groupings, I would least like to share any amount of time with, because that's ultimately what I'm trying to think of, okay? Because when I've seen these two camps and how they're just interacting with everybody, it just raised that question in my mind. Like, I'm sure you've worked with both of these groups of people, the overly emotional and the narcissistic types. Who makes for a worse coworker? Well, let's focus in on Ariana Grande, on why she and Cynthia Erivo are touching so often during the Wicked press tours. It's like, yeah, well, I think they're trying to anchor one another, mostly because if there's a stiff breeze that comes along, one of them will probably get picked up and thrown away. Meanwhile, the other shan't be far behind, because you take a look at this, it's like, Jesus Christ, man. I was trying to give them the benefit of the doubt the first time around, going, okay, everybody's just been indoctrinated because there's just been so many ham planets running around, my body positivity movement coupled with, yeah, but she thick though. But this time around, it's like the exposed breastplate, and no, I'm not talking about getting your titties out. I'm just talking about playing count the top ribs. That's a little bit different than, if you're showing the floaters closer to the bottom. That's a totally different story. That is still a healthy body weight. This right here, I don't know who thinks this is a good look, but yes, the Wicked co-stars Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo have drawn attention for their frequent displays of affection throughout their two press tours. Their holding space exchange, where Grande held Erivo's finger, yeah, we'll get to that one real quickly, went particularly viral. Amy Poehler interviewed Grande on her Good Hang podcast. Yeah, something Grande can accomplish with dental floss, and asked the actress directly and tactfully about why the two touch so often during their press tours. Yes, Poehler complimented Grande on their deep friendship she built with Erivo. She noted the challenges of doing press, as every move is scrutinized by the public, and women are so often pitted against each other by other women in the press. But anyways, seeing Grande and Erivo's close bond despite this was really cool, because you have to deal with a lot of people's energy when they're talking to you about the stuff that you made. Poehler said, she added, and also, you guys just physically checked in. Like, it's really sweet how you touch each other. Like, it's like you touch in a non-sexual way, and a loving way of a supporting each other. Yeah, sure, whatever, man. Yes, Grande confirmed. You like to hold each other's hands, and they're Oh, and be there for each other. It's very sweet. You like to do that with people, am I wrong? I do, Grande said. I channel a lot of energy through my hands. Oh, God. You've lost a lot of body fat percentage, but you didn't lose the insufferability. And so I'm always holding a hand. I'm always like squeezing something, as you've learned. I'm always reaching for something sometimes, like apparently a helicopter that is flying by, because first and foremost, the wacko Wicked press tour put on ice after Erivo's voice, fails and Grande opts out, and solidarity. Did Universal pull the plug on weird interviews? We'll come back to this here real quick, because while we had a copious amount of interviews to scrutinize with the first press tour, this time around, all you're kind of left with is just weird shit like this every once in a while. And, well, the clip kind of speaks for itself, but I'll just give the commentary for those listening when it runs through.
Me.
Not the time, helicopter!
Okay, so Ariana Grande calls out a helicopter over top, and fucking Cynthia Erivo's having nom flashbacks. Why are you breaking down crying because there's a helicopter? It's like, do you have a family member having a run-in with Pinochet back in the cut? Like, what are we doing? And yeah, on the first press tour, it was like at least slightly emotional questions that would lead to just these over-the-top outbursts, but this is a fucking helicopter flying over the top and she's losing her mind? So yeah, perhaps Universal did pull the plug on this. The Wicked for Good press tour was abruptly suspended in New York City just days before the movie's release, with Hollywood outlets claiming Cynthia Erivo lost her voice and Grande refused to continue press appearances without her. Keep that in mind for a second, because we got a bit of an update on this at the end, but the official narrative isn't sitting well with online observers. After all, since when does a singer temporarily lose her voice, require a full-blown solidarity pack from her co-star, complete with the studio shutting down interviews? Well, she needs to hold on to somebody, and there was nobody else that could appropriately fit that bony visage. Anyways, it's a question fans, influencers, and the industry watchers have been asking nonstop since the news broke. Speculation has only intensified because the Wicked press tour has already become something of a spectacle for reasons Universal probably didn't anticipate. Long before the Wicked for Good press tour was pulled, fans noticed something unusual about the promotional circuit. Instead of straightforward discussions about the film, fans were treated to a highlight reel of baffling moments featuring Grande and Erivo seemingly locked in their own private wavelength, one that didn't always translate to the rest of the audience, or, planet Earth. Most widely mocked clip came from an interview where the actresses earnestly discussed the colors of their auras. Yeah, this is just chick bullshit, okay? Like, this is just chick crack. Hence why I don't know how well this film is going to perform. The critics and the audience, the critics and the fan critics, I guess, can go ahead and shit all over the movie, but there's still going to be that diligent fan base going out there and supporting it, and yeah, they're more likely to vibe with this type of shit, so I don't know. But yes, while staring deeply into each other's eyes as if unlocking cosmic mysteries, it didn't take long for the segment to ricochet across the internet, becoming a punchline of jokes about Hollywood self-importance. Interesting, but yeah, Cynthia Erivo lost her voice, and Ariana Grande decided to cut shit short because she wanted to post up in solidarity, where she is like the last person on Earth apparently testing positive for the coof. And yo, that's another non-flattering picture. Like, what the fuck are we doing, man? So yeah, perhaps they both have the coof, and the reason that they're catching it in 2025, because they literally have no immune system left. You can actually see the one white blood cell hanging out on her third set of ribs right there. But going back real quick, what was being highlighted right here is, okay, Hollywood's big problem with self-importance. And that leads us to next week's big release. Finally, after like a decade and change, the conclusion of Stranger Things with the first of the 3-part season 5 release schedule, which is an interesting novelty in and of itself. I want to see if that's going to end up happening more and more with some of the bigger shows as it goes along. If it's a blueprint that Netflix and other streaming services wish to engage with moving forward. That's about the most interesting aspect, because I've never seen Stranger Things. I don't know a goddamn thing about what's going on. All again I know about this is a lot to do with the meta, and specifically one Millie Bobby Brown. And the last time we talked about this situation was, well, there was a little rumor. There was a little rumor going around that she had filed a complaint with Netflix in regards to David Harbour, okay? A bullying claim, nothing, creepy or anything like that. No bad touches, no creepy drunk uncle or anything like that. No. Apparently he's an asshole on set. or Millie Bobby Brown is a little bit too emotional. And as the day started to go on, there were some interview clips that ended up resurfacing, like this one right here. And well, after that, one side of this equation just shut up and went about their business, but the other just couldn't stop showing how thin-skinned they are, kind of letting people know that there's probably two sides to this whole situation, and the bad guy might not be the one with the complaint filed against him. But yes, Millie Bobby Brown hinted at a rumored feud with David Harbour in a resurfaced interview. Millie Bobby Brown alluded to an alleged feud with her Stranger Things co-star David Harbour over a year before it made headlines, following the reports that Brown, 21, accused Harbour, 51. God, that's sad, when most people think the 51-year-old looks more age-appropriate than the 21-year-old. But anyways, of harassment and bullying on the set of the Netflix series. In an interview from 2024 resurfaced in which Brown was asked about her co-star's possible involvement in her wedding to Jake, Bon Jovi, the son of John Bon Jovi, during a March 2024 chat with MTV. Reporter Josh Horowitz joked to Brown that the wedding, which took place 2 months later, should be Stranger Things themed. Harbour is officiating, Horowitz said to the actress. Yes, Brown reluctantly responded as she squinted her eyes. I don't know how I feel about that. Sure, the Enola Holmes actress awkwardly added. Yeah, you can see that she is discomforted by this, for sure. But Brown then declared that the officiant should be Matthew Modine, who plays Martin Brenner, her character Eleven's father figure in Stranger Things. He's my fake dad, Brown added, of Modine, 66. Modine did officiate Brown's private wedding ceremony to Bon Jovi, yes, in May of 2024. That's all nice, that's all well and good, but yeah, that's about the extent that we got to trying to back up any of those, like, second or third-hand rumors about a suspected riff on the set of Stranger Things. But now, okay, we have confirmation that, yes, in fact, there was a complaint that was filed, but it was, in fact, resolved, backing up my assessment of the situation at the time that, yeah, this is probably something because we didn't hear about it at the time, that the higher-ups went through, or it wasn't as big of a deal as one of these parties was making it out to be. But after some initial doubt, Millie Bobby Brown did file a complaint against co-star David Harbour, Variety sources have confirmed. When the Daily Mail reported that the young star had accused her on-screen adoptive father of harassment and bullying in pages and pages of accusations, many readers were quick to note that the reports came from friend of Harbour's ex-wife, Lily Allen, with whom he had allegedly had a turbulent relationship with. The claims also surfaced that just as Allen released a tell-all breakup album, which some speculated might boost the interest in her new music. Yeah, I don't know if it did, because who's really excited once again? Like, who's catching the coof in 2025, and who's looking forward to a Lily Allen album in 2025? Still, the timing could not have been worse for Netflix. It was preparing to debut the 5th and final season of the hit series. Shortly after the rumor started, Netflix hosted the red carpet world premiere where Brown and Harbour appeared perfectly comfortable together. Yeah, exactly, because here they are on the set, and to be honest, it's like Harbour looks like a creeper, but Brown was going out of her way to really make it seem like this was much ado about nothing. But David Harbour is not having a good month, but attendees at the Los Angeles premiere at the event on November 6th for the 5th and final season of Netflix Stranger Things might not have noticed. Harbour was all smiles on the red carpet, particularly as he playfully hugged co-star Millie Bobby Brown, and they took selfies with fans. The two arrived at the event together and even traded compliments and interviews on the red carpet. Brown told Entertainment Tonight that she obviously had a really special bond with David because we have a father-daughter relationship. You're fucking actors. Man, this is why so many of these fucking freaks that are out there just relate and take all of their real-world experience from fucking movies. Like, how can you be so silly? But anyways, it's been so special to have him along with the journey. Along the journey for me, okay? When Harbour spoke to E.T., the only outlet who he granted an interview, he said, Variety's not pissed off about that. No, okay, why wouldn't you point that out? I adore her, and I've been proud to watch them all grow up, and it's become such great artists. Yes, this particular project is so special, and we've gotten to know each other so deeply. So yeah, they tried to go ahead and shirk any sort of responsibility. And yeah, for the rest of the night, David Harbour was relatively unremarkable in his presence. He was there, he acted accordingly, they showed off the first of the 3 parts, and everybody moved on with their life. Except for Millie Bobby Brown, who continued to be just a fucking uncomfortable bitch, because yeah, Millie Bobby Brown snaps at a photographer on Stranger Things red carpet. You smile. Yeah, because this is what she thinks makes for a good look. Like, the dress is kind of inappropriate, especially if you can't fill it out. And there was also some other shit about fucking body shaming that I seen. It's like, she's just so insufferable, because we'll just play this clip here real quick. Run it back from the top. Yeah, it's not like that was playful at all whatsoever. She's just standing there like a 5-year-old pissing into the wind. Somebody's asking for a smile and you want to do this stern consternation. And you freak out like a toddler. That's why I'm thinking, man, those bullying claims, I truly think that there was nothing going on there. That was probably David Harbour not really wanting to put up with unprofessionalism. If it was all stemming from the work that was being done either on season 4 or season 5, these were all adults by this point in time. They should be far more accustomed to the goings-on on a film set. But if the entitled Millie Bobby Brown decided to take umbrage with that, there's probably a reason why after everything is all said and done, she's very likely to just simply disappear because, well, she's been getting pretty consistent work here over the past couple of years in between the releases of seasons of Stranger Things, but it's all just simply been confined to Netflix. You had that stupid Damsel movie, the really expensive Russo brothers production, The Electric State, the Enola Holmes series, which is, I guess, somewhat popular. Well, enough so where there's been at least 2 and I think a third has been greenlit. But whatever. For as many Netflix and movies and shows that she gets attached to, she often talks about, rolling back her career, wanting to go ahead and step out of the limelight. And it's like, you're 21 years old and you're already talking about, taking off. Maybe it's because your phone isn't ringing the same way it was back before everybody figured out that, wow, you're kind of difficult to work with. And it's only a matter of time before her skeletons come out of the closet because Millie Bobby Brown, on finishing Stranger Things after 5 seasons, felt like a massive milestone in reaching this achievement that was finally coming to an end. Like, we did it, but also the weight of this being the end was so heavy because you know that it's all over after this. The limelight will never be brighter on you ever again because nobody wants to work with somebody so moderately talented and so impossibly entitled. So who would you least prefer to work with? The overly emotional, touchy-feely Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo, or the overly emotional narcissist that is Millie Bobby Brown? I've worked with both sets, and honestly, I would rather work with a reverse-firing Winchester. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.